Good morning, guys. This is Patti Sanders with Earthworks out here at the Nguyen residence in the new Settlers Landing development in Nocatee. Today we are going to be looking at another large size project, which is an entire re-landscape of a contractor build down here in Settlers Landing. What I wanted to start with though is, if you look at this little area right in here, the original contractor's design had the walkway at a weird diagonal to the front door, which I thought was kind of strange. Plus it didn't really work with our design. So if you work with your contractors, and a lot of times we do, I was able to get the contractor to make the path, the walkway, a little bit curved versus that straight diagonal, which not only looks better and the homeowner loves it, but it actually is giving us a better area to do our water feature that we're going to do in this little area here. Another thing I want to note is that most of the time contractors really don't use a lot of color in their designs. There's a lot of shrubs and ground covers. Here they actually used a lot of color, which I really love. So a lot of this plant material, our blue days, our drift roses, our durantas. We also have a couple camellias. We're going to actually reuse these guys in the backyard. I had some problems getting a certain type of plant that I wanted called Mahonia. So we're going to use some of our azaleas that we have in another location. Oh, right here. The azaleas, we're going to reuse those in the area that I couldn't get the Mahonia. So we do try to get plants that you guys want. Sometimes we cannot. So we'll repurpose some of the contractor ones that are in this design. And again, if we don't have to throw out anything, I don't. Typically, it's good to reuse. Sometimes we will. Sometimes we won't reuse everything. But in this case, we're going to, because we have such a large design. So we are going to redo everything. There'll be a nice water feature up here with some landscaping. In the back, we're going to have a small pond, the tadpole. We're going to have a pond back there. We're going to add in some large Sylvester palms up front, some tropical look up here. And one of the other things we need to consider is this side of the house right here is actually their mother-in-law. The mother-in-law is in this little side section, this area. So on the back side, we're going to do a lot of things involved for her with a little garden, some vegetable boxes, which we're not going to install, but just to give them a space for it. So that was one of the things we took into consideration as well. Back here, we're going to have a water feature up in here, a small tadpole pond. We're going to build up the soil because back here you can see it slopes down into the natural space. We originally were going to kind of build it up so that we can have the yard extended and keep it kind of flat, but that would make this wall back here, guys, about 5 feet tall, almost up to my face right about here, which would be crazy, probably a little bit even taller. And you see that big huge drop. They've got kids and we didn't want that. So we are going to build a small wall about waist high back here. We'll still have the long kind of, you know, come down a little bit with a slope. When we put this wall up, guys, you have to remember when we install walls, it's going to need a footer because of the amount of soil that's going to be behind it. It also requires liner and a good drainage system. A lot of times they don't think about drainage when they do these walls. And if you have all that water build up behind that wall, it's got to go somewhere, right? So we're going to install a drainage system in this wall that's going to be back here. And again, the reason is so they can extend their yard a little bit more, and then we can have a little build up to this pond that's going to happen up here. But real cool little property. They back up to a preserve, so you do have to watch out. You can't do anything back here, guys. Everything's got to be within the property line and the building restriction line. So that was another thing too. We had to keep this, we wanted to go as far out as we can, but there's a building restriction line. You can put pavers past, but you can't put anything permanent structures like walls. So again, that's why we're coming back here with that retaining wall. Real excited. This is going to be a huge project, and it's going to take us a good 4 to 6 weeks on this one, guys. And so I'm looking forward to showing you the end product when we get there. If you have to go a little closer, we'll explain that to him, but you do your best judgment because it's going to have to be based on where that wall comes down here. He said we could do all the downspouts. The big one is that's causing a problem is the one that's over here. You see the big puddle it's causing? Yeah. But Josh said I can do all of them tied into the bed over here, not into the drainage back here, but tie them all into like a catch basin. And I can draw it out for you if you want. I figure if we pitch it this way, there's a walkway here, but if it's easier for to pitch it a different way, I'm open to suggestions. That's the main issue right there, that one.
Alright guys, it's Nick Scott with Earthworks here. We're out at the Nguyen project. Right now you see this retaining wall going in. This is awesome because what this allows the homeowner to do is actually have some flat sort of grass back here for his kids to play. If you see over here, the neighbor's yard has a pretty severe slope to it, which he didn't want. So this retaining wall is going to allow this to come up flat. This is all going to be grass up in here. Over in that corner, we're going to be building a little koi pond for him as well, so that's going to be awesome. This black stuff you see here, that's their French drain easy flow pipe. That's a 6-inch pipe. What that's going to do, that will eventually be tacoed in liner and filled with 57 granite stone. So what that's going to allow to do is for any groundwater that comes in here, it's going to go right into this system and then right out of that big orange pipe you see right there. We're eventually going to put a box right there, a discharge box. So all of this rain, we incorporated 4 of these downspouts right here because when it rains out in Nocatee, it rains really hard and it washes out a lot. So we pretty much got rid of that problem for them. That's all connected into the same system. This easy flow system goes into a 6-inch T there, then out the box. All this drainage, those 2 go into that, and so do these 2 right here. So we've essentially solved his erosion and drainage issue in one fell swoop. Then what will happen is that geogrid will come out and backfilled with dirt. That'll help keep that wall from wanting to slag down. That'll keep that wall vertical, give that some extra strength and stability. All right, out here at the Men's, we built this beautiful welcome, I like to call them welcome fountains because it's right in the front door, something for their guests to see. Pretty simple. You got a 45 basin in here under this rock where the pump is housed. And then that pumps the water up to this top bowl here, which overflows down into the second bowl, which overflows back down into the basin. We also have 2 1-watt lights installed. I like to hide them underneath the rock, you know, so they're not so obvious. But at night, he said it looks really good, really cool. We'll also be doing some more landscaping in here later on in the project, so check back in with us later when we have this all landscaped and you'll be able to see what it looks like.